Nick Reiner makes first court appearance to face murder charges and killing of his parents. Okay? Rob, if you got that clip, is this it?
Yep.
Go for it, Rob.
Reiner making his first court appearance moments ago. Let's watch.
It will be a convenient date for us to come back for potential arraignment.
Thank you. At this time, I'll take a waiver, speedy arraignment waiver from your client. Mr. Reiner, do you have a constitutional and statutory right to a speedy arraignment? Your counsel is requesting that your arraignment be continued to January 7, 2026. Do you waive your right to a speedy arraignment so that your arraignment can be heard on January 7, 2026? And does counsel join in the waiver?
I join, Your Honor.
The court finds that the defendant has made a knowing and intelligent waiver of his right to a speedy arraignment, and that his counsel joins in that waiver. Matter set January 7, 2026 for arraignment in this department. Bail to stand at no bail. Anything further on that case?
Not by the defense, Your Honor.
Anything further?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, you can pause it right there. Now, by the way, Michelle Obama was on, I think, Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah. Yep.
She's on Jimmy Kimmel, and she's telling a story about how they were supposed to meet with them that night to have dinner with Rob Reiner. Okay, so they're having. If you have the clip, Rob, is that the one?
Yes,
Go
sir.
for it. Go ahead.
We're friends with Rob and Michelle Reiner, and I'm very sorry for your loss.
My God.
How long have you known the Reiners?
We've known them for many, many years, and we were supposed to be seeing them that night, last night. And we got the news. And let me just say this, unlike some people, Rob and Michelle Reiner are some of the most decent, courageous people you ever want to know. They're not deranged or crazed. What they have always been are passionate people in a time when there's not a lot of courage going on. They were the kind of people who were ready to put their actions behind what they cared about. And they cared about their family, and they cared about this country, and they cared about fairness and equity. And that is the truth. I do know them.
Well, we believe you.
You and your husband were...
Okay, so Rob, what else has happened since? A lot of old clips have circulated, right? A lot of old stuff from Nick Reiner, the family, tweets. Here's a tweet I just saw right here. Until Trump goes to prison, from Rob Reiner. Until Trump goes to prison, I will no longer be posting on Twitter. I had it with the insults and put downs. This is Rob Reiner. F all of you MAGA assholes. Okay, so that's Rob Reiner.
Who wrote that?
Oh, by the way,
and there's a ton of these.
He was, for 10 years, it was the anti-Trump. Anytime a camera was in front of Rob Reiner, God rest his soul, it was all about Trump, F his followers, Russia collusion. That's all he was. Like, you forgot about the movies. Like, people were just, he's just anti-Trump the entire time.
Here's one. No surprise, Trump colluded with Russia. We've always known his presidency was illegitimate. Now it's been proven, for the sake of our democracy, this man must be indicted and jailed. Okay, so there's a reason why the president came out hard the day he died, and he put the twin. A lot of people were critical of him, and then a lot of this other stuff showing up. They're like, wait a minute, this is kind of, Trump never forgets what happened. Remember, he said it himself. He says, I hold grudges. I'm not like some of these other guys, right? Yeah. But there's a couple clips, Rob, of, did you see the one with Conan O'Brien?
I was just gonna say that.
Do you have that one, Rob, with the Conan O'Brien?
No, let me take a look.
And so, Pat, allegedly, they were at the house, right? He was at
Conan
Conan's
O'Brien
house.
threw a holiday party, is what it was.
Yeah.
Well, I have a
they were all
video
there.
on that. Yeah.
And apparently, if you remember Bill Hader from SNL,
Yes.
they were having a conversation. It was awkward. He stormed off. They were all together at a party that night. Hours later, he murders his parents. There's famous Hollywood actors there. They're all going to probably have to testify.
Of course.
As to what did
the
you
fight,
see that
what
night?
are they arguing about? What are you arguing
What are they
about?
arguing about?
Yeah. Is this it?
To me, the politics aside, this drug addict, semi-homeless kid murdered his parents. That's the storyline.
Final hours of the Riner.
Was this, Rob? Is that the one?
This is Anderson Cooper talking about the Wall Street Journal
story
journalist who reported on the fight at Conan O'Brien's party, including the Bill Hader interaction.
Go for it.
Sure. So on the night before they were found murdered, Rob and Michelle brought their son Nick to a holiday party at Conan O'Brien's house. During the party, he was approaching people there, asking questions that, in that context, seemed confrontational, strange. are you famous? Asking people there, are you famous? So you can imagine a party of actual famous people and fame adjacent people who are really used to strange behavior out in public, but here they are at a gathering of their peers at a party hosted by Conan. It was unsettling to some.
It wasn't sort of, oh, are you legitimate, like, oh, are you famous? It was saying to like Bill Hader, who's a very famous, well-known Saturday Night Live comedian, are you famous?
Yes.
Like there's a hostility to it, it seems.
Yeah, and also keep in mind this is a man who grew up around famous people. He knows fame. So Bill Hader was one of the people he approached at the party, and
You report on sort of I don't know if it was an argument or a...
There was an awkward exchange made more awkward by the fact that he had met Hader earlier in the night. Rob had introduced him. So when he came up and asked him questions such as, what's your name? Are you famous? It was unsettling and described as scary from Hader's perspective.
And then how do you know how long he stayed at the party? Was he asked to leave?
That is unclear, and there are kind of conflicting reports about how much tension was in the room, whether or not he may have argued with his dad, and whether that argument was significant at all. I think what stands is this fact that this is going to be remembered as a very strange prelude to a really horrific turn of events.
You've also done a lot of reporting just on his addiction, on his past.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Rob and Michelle brought their 32-year-old son to this party, I think, is kind of a sign of their ongoing efforts over the years to really stabilize him, to normalize his life had been rocked many, many times by his addiction.
And there had been, there have been a lot of efforts by Rob Reiner over the years. I mean, making that film, Rob Reiner worked as a director on the movie that his son co-wrote, apparently without salary, even in the hopes that that would sort of launch him into a career, I guess.
Correct, and to really trying to understand what Nick had gone through as a father. I mean, that's how Rob described it, at least. And what's remarkable is that that whole thing would be private and opaque to us if that movie hadn't happened. Right. They hadn't gone on these press tours talking about their problems with, kind of varying degrees of comfort and discomfort, it seemed like, on both their parts.
Yeah, it's fascinating reporting the Wall
by
Street,
the age of 22, he went to rehab 18 times. By the age of 22, he went to rehab 18 times.
Wow.
Another story that just dropped from TMZ right now says he was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and the meds he was taking made him erratic and dangerous. Okay, erratic and dangerous. And some of the clips you see is just disturbing between the father and the son relationship. Rob, do you have that one clip? And I know you've seen quite a few of them. You and I were talking about some of them. Some of them we're not going to play.
No.
There's a lot of weird stuff out there. On which one is this, Rob? Can you play it? I just want to see which one this is.
You don't seem very fiery to me. You seem like you might just...
I get crazy.
Oh, okay.
You don't want to set me off.
Yeah. Were you ever worried that that Nick could shine poorly on your career or something like that?
No. That never crossed my mind. In my opinion, the reason they're taking, whether it's drugs or alcohol or gambling, whatever they're doing it because there's a pain. There's something inside they don't feel good. They don't feel good about themselves, and they're self-medicating. So to try to understand why it is they're not feeling good.
You don't seem...
Okay, so and Adam makes a really good point. Automatically, The View, the whole world was like, Trump, and as if it was a surprise, Donald Trump was going to say, like, whatever he said, his condolences, but he said, this guy had Trump derangement syndrome, and he didn't say something like, by the way, again, I didn't agree with it too soon. He didn't say like, oh, I'm happy he's dead. He just made a point that this guy for 10 years made his life a living hell. Put that aside, Adam makes a great point. The real issue is, and just to add to this, a caveat, Rob Reiner reportedly, this is from Yahoo Entertainment, said that he was petrified of his son Nick and that he could hurt him in his final words at this party. Okay, that's number one. The deeper issue to me is, you could answer this, Rob could, and I asked Rob earlier, and you could, Tom, if you are going to rehab at 14 years old, okay, as a parent, as a father in Hollywood, how does that happen? How are you not in the kid's life enough that a 14-year-old has to go to rehab? That's one question that I was asking, okay? Was there abuse? What was going on? And we're not going to play the clips, but Al Franken And Billy Crystal on a roast said stuff that I don't even want to say on camera. I'm not going to say. You guys can go look at it. It was disgusting.
Disgusting.
It's
It's an
disgusting.
understatement, yeah.
Understatement, pedophilia type stuff. I don't even want to get into it. We don't know what type of abuse happened. Nobody knows what makes that type of thing happen. I'm going to be very, I'm interested and curious to see what the defense is going to say and have for Nick, because I'm telling you, schizophrenia aside, he's going to probably reveal a lot of stuff that a lot of abuse, I don't know if it's going to be true or not, but I think a lot's going to come out in the wash, and I'm very curious to see how his siblings are going to respond to potentially some of the abuse that he had. Because it's, to me, I've never heard of a 14-year-old in rehab. This is me personally, my experiences. Tom, as a father, can you explain to me how can something like that happen?
Well, there's multiple layers of this onion, as far as I see. First of all, I see just a horrible tragedy. The unthinkable is your own child, commits murder. That's just unthinkable to me, and it's a tragedy. And I'll let Rob's life professionally and things he said just stand for themselves. I don't want to kind of recount that. It's a disgusting tragedy. But I'll tell you this. When we were looking for schools in California, looking for quality schools, we were at a private school. And at the private school, Vinny, you can say, wow, this kid's been in rehab 18 times. But there were kids at that school that were not in rehab, that needed rehab, and celebrity parents didn't want them to be identified publicly because they didn't want the stain or the shame. That's bad publicity. And they tried to work with things with their kids privately, and yet they were enabling through monetary availability of kids to get their hands on drugs, and they're hanging out with other celebrity kids that had wealth that were able to get their hands on drugs. So I don't think it's that the story. The story can be, how did this guy end up in rehab 18 times since he was 14? There's part of me that says, thank God he was in rehab and they were trying to get somewhere, but obviously it came off the rails, and at 32 years old, he then commits this. But there's another story in Los Angeles, and Pat's been around it, I've been around it, is the celebrities that never took their kids to rehab, but they needed help because they don't want the reflection on their own reputation.
Yeah, I don't think that was Rob, though. I think Rob, if he went to rehab that many times, at least he wanted to do something about it. This is a clip, by the way, of him walking around after his parents were found. Watch this. Security camera footage shows Nick Reiner an hour before his arrest. This is after he killed his parents. Charged with the murder of his parents, goes into a convenience store Sunday evening. He then quickly leaves the store. Rob, what audio is that?
What is that?
I thought it was like somebody doing audio.
No, that was Adam's clip. There you go. So disturbing as you see something like this taking place with the son. I think a lot is going to come out, and I don't know. This story can go many different directions, by the way. This story can go many different directions when some of the stories comes out, and the legacy could be good, bad, and ugly very quickly.
What do you mean by many different directions, sir?
I saw some things that was just a little bit uncomfortable. You can come and do a roast and say stuff you want to say about me. You can say roast about a lot of other stuff. Roast about a young son and what you do to him and what happens to him? You don't roast like that.
Nope.
These are professional roasters saying stuff like that.
And he's laughing, and the father's
the only
just laughing.
reason you say something like that is if it's
not at 14.
Yeah, is if it's a. Anyways, this is a dark story, man.
Yeah.
It's just a dark story, Adam.
Well, look, this to me comes down to the following. This is a story of a father and a parent's love for their son that just went horribly wrong. So, the most likely person to kill somebody is not a stranger. It's not some random person in an alley. It's someone in your house. Domestic violence, as they say. Like the if you want to go like the in order, it's your boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, family member, friend, neighbor, and at the very least, stranger. So imagine this household of how combustible it would have been, right? So the rage, the emotion that was in there. Listen, I've been very open about this. My father and I had a very, very toxic relationship. Not many people have ever fist fought their parents. My dad and I would fight all the time. I'm talking 10, 12, 15, 18 years old to eventually one of us ended up in jail for domestic violence. So I understand what it's like to live in a crazy household. I wasn't on drugs. I wasn't a drinker. My dad was an actual wild card. And it taught me how to basically deal with situations where very, very uncomfortable. In my opinion, the father and the mother loved their son with all their heart and they wanted the best for him. And he just could not get out of his own way. You said something very powerful that I remember. I remember a lot of things you said are powerful. You said to your kids, I'll always love you. No matter what you do, I'll always love you unconditionally. But to say that I'm proud of you, that's something totally different. Am I getting those words right? Mm-hmm. So I think they love their son, but they were so saddened to see what his life is becoming. And they kept clearly trying to give him another second, third, fifth, 20th chance at life. And eventually it cost them their life. And that's the most tragic thing here.
Yeah. Vinny's got a special announcement that I want Vinny to share with you guys. Go ahead, Vinny.
So guys, as you guys know, the Faith Over Fear line, we had the Faith Over Fear shirt. We just came out. This just come out. It's live right now. Pat wore this yesterday. It's a Faith Over Fear hat. I'm trying to figure out, we have the symbol here. We have the cross here. Hebrews 11, 1 on the back.
Rob, can you click on the hat and show the pictures?
Yeah, let everybody see this. Guys, it's embroidered. By the way,
it's sick.
I only wear Yankee hats. Oh, yeah, so I only wear Yankee hats. But guys, you can see the future looks bright on the bottom. This is stitched. Hebrews 11, 1, that. And then the cross on the side. Like I said, I only wear Yankee hats, but
it's 3D embroidery.
Yo, no, it's ridiculous. And I just want, this is, every time something like this happens, the hats finally come in, we're at a pivotal place where right now, with everything that's happening with Christians in Nigeria, as you're seeing what's happening in Europe, you're seeing what's happening in Australia, the enemy wants us to be afraid. I don't know if you guys saw this. Australia, France, Germany, they just canceled all their Christmas celebrations, all their freaking New Year's stuff because they're afraid. I'm telling you guys right now, I've said this before. In the Bible, 365 times it says, do not fear, okay? Just have faith. And when it comes to having faith in Christ, there's one story that I want to say, and you know this. In Matthew chapter 20, I think verse 9, or 9, verse 20 to 22, there's Jesus is walking through Galilee, and he's healing people. People are touching him and grabbing him, and he's just trying to get through the crowd. And there was a woman that had an issue of bleeding for 12 years. They believe it was like a menstrual situation. She says to herself, and this is in scripture, all I have to do is touch the hem of his robe and I'll be healed, okay? So she crawls through this crowd and she just reaches and touches a string that's hanging off Jesus' robe, and he stops in the crowd and he goes, who touched me, all right? And Peter and everybody's like, Jesus, everybody's touching. He goes, no. Who touched me? He said he felt the power leave his body, and he looks, and the woman is on the floor, instantly healed, and she's crying, Pat, and she stands up and she goes, Jesus, you healed me. And he looks at her and goes, I didn't heal you. It was your faith that healed you. Think about that. Think about that.
It's powerful.
Just touching his clothes, and she was healed, and that's belief. And I want to say one last thing. When Jesus was in Nazareth, he was powerless. He couldn't do any miracles, and you know why? He said because it was their disbelief, because they didn't believe. So your faith is what creates the miracles in your life. And I think this hat is that message. And this is letting everybody know, I'm not afraid. We're not afraid. I'm a Christian. I wear it proud. And I want people to know that. And yeah, that's it. And it's live right now.
I love it. And you know, you can go to vtmerch.com, place the order, get the hat, get the shirt, get the shoe. All of those we'll put over there for you. Yesterday, I had these pastors that flew in from Australia. And he said the most powerful line. Two pastors, the guy's from Egypt. His name is Martin Cedro, and his wife Millicent. And he says, when I was a kid, and my dad and I were talking about becoming a pastor one day, he says, my father told us one thing. If you want to be a pastor, you can't fear. If you fear, don't be a pastor. One doesn't go without the other. You have to be very strong about your faith that you have. So for those of you that are comfortable this Christmas season, New Year's season, going into 2026 with faith, put that on, walk around. You'd be amazed how many people stop by and say, hey, man, I'm with you. Hey, man, I'm with you. I love the stories of just winks with people that are, fans of the show, or, they're looking at each other like, man, you're also Future Looks Bright. You're also Faith Over Fear. You're also Valuetainment. Me too. I'm one as well. So go place the order, or 2 or 3, and gift it to some of the people in your community. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.